Now let's talk about this little bastard. Anybody know who that is? This guy. I looked so hard to figure out something good for that, but I think I'm pretty happy with that choice.
Pretty good.
This is what this guy does. He's constantly sneaking up on you. First off, does anybody have a positive thought when they see that right there? Does anybody have a pretty picture in their head? Oh, he's such a cute little terrorist. No. That's why I picked the word terrorist, okay?
Ahmed, that's it. He's not. That's what I think so.
There's a pretty good comedy skit out there about Ahmed the dead terrorist.
Oh my God.
I thought about him too, but I wanted to keep this completely generic, so I had to go to another planet to find this guy.
That's wise.
So here's what the terrorist does in our everyday lives. And if you think you don't have a terrorist with you, you are mistaken.
He's right here.
He's right there on your shoulder all the time. He's constantly telling you, you can't do that.
Yeah.
You've never achieved something like that. Someday you might get to do that. Someday. Oh, someday is the worst word to ever use. You don't have time. You're too busy. What if you fail? What if it doesn't work? Now, this isn't his total vocabulary. He's got more. An infinite amount. Us humans, our brain, the way we do things is we go off a lot from experience. That exercise earlier when we went in our mind, a lot of it was past stuff. And I kept us there for a reason on that, for the example. It's rare that we go into the future. But when we do, and we start, and then we got rooms in our hotel for future stuff too, we don't go there very often. We spend a whole lot more time in the past. Now, there's good things about that. That's our subconscious. It does that for a reason. It's what's kept the species around for a long time. When the bears and lions are after you, you remember that you don't leave meat out at the campsite. Bears and lions will show up and eat you, like they did poor little Joey. Okay? So it's good stuff that you learn. That stove's hot. Anybody ever learned that lesson before? It's real good. That's a good experience to remember. Okay? But now sometimes people burn themselves so bad on the stove that they'll never cook again. Right? Is that a good thing? Is that healthy? No. It's letting the past run you. This guy. Talking, that's hot, don't touch that. You can't cook. Yes, you can. You chose not to because it elicits bad memories. Anybody ever had a bad relationship before?
Yeah.
The looks on some of y'all's faces, that was pretty cool. Oh, by the way, I meant to tell you, I didn't want to interrupt when we were doing, but the part where I asked, did you approve of who she married? She smiled and said, yeah, so you're good. I wanted to share that. So, this guy is useful for certain things, but in this day and age, it limits us more than it helps us. We've got our basic needs pretty much covered. Okay? Right now, some of you are eating. Nobody went outside with a spear and a bow and hunted whatever it is you're eating. Okay? Nobody went out to the garden and picked whatever you picked that you're now consuming. That's pretty much taken care of. Right? We got all that basic stuff pretty much squared away from a survival perspective. So we start operating at a higher plane. We start operating at other things that we desire. A long time ago, people desired food, water, air, and shelter. And if you made it through that, it was a good day. And no bears or lions ate you. It was a good day. Now, we have different things that we focus on. This guy ruins us more today. It keeps us in a nice, simple, comfortable box where nothing happens and you're in your little floaty paddling one hand in a circle. Okay? This is going to be the one that beats you up the most. Brian said it before, self-talk. Is your self-talk good talk or is it terrorist talk? If you haven't hit what you want, chances are this guy's winning. Now here's what's really neat. You can put a bullet in this guy's head anytime you want. You can't kill him. You just wound him for a little bit. And he comes back, another version, he's back again. Okay? So don't get all bent out of shape. My terrorists just be aware of it is half the battle. Probably 90% of the battle. Be aware of that. Be aware of that self-talk. When it happens, focus on it. Dig in. Why do I keep telling myself this nonsense? It's not achieving anything. If you'll focus on it hardcore and break it down to its substructure, you might get a breakthrough. And you will disappear that thing out of your life, and that ain't going to ever have any effect over you again. Or if it is, it's fleeting. So we're going to focus on our names. Did anybody's terrorist show up when you were filling out your first box?
Yes.
Did anybody hedge what they wrote down in their box because of this guy? Who wrote something down and said, and then you wrote something else down? Be honest, come on, get them up there. You're writing stick figures on a damn piece of paper and you let this guy dictate what you're putting in for a dream, for your desire. Isn't that crazy? That's how much control this little fella has over you. You're writing down your desire of your life and you hedged. You pulled back. You didn't go for it. Because, what if it doesn't work? What if I don't achieve this? What if blah, 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 blah. That's all it does. That's the knife to your throat that it wields. Got you pulled by the back of that hair and leading you around throughout your day and helping you focus on 8,000 different things that don't mean anything to you. Be aware of this guy. Be aware that other people got this guy as well. And just because you figured it out, I promise you they haven't gotten there yet. Okay? So the names list. Next spot on your paper. You've got 5 of them on the page that you're looking at. You've got 4 pages. There's 20 names that we want to fill out. Now here's what I want you to do. This is going to help with your terrorist. Who's already grabbed their phone and is looking for names? Raise your hand. Yeah, that's cool. I want you to grab the 2nd name in your contact list, the 4th name, the 7th name, the 9th name, and the 12th name, and write that in the box. If you don't have your phone or if you don't want to do that, you just want to write names down, you can do that too. But if you grabbed your phone, you got to follow these instructions. Tammy's liking this.
Number 2 is Alarm Central.
Call them up. Call them. We're going to chat with them. We're going to see what they got going on.
Talking to Brian downstairs, I kind of had an epiphany.
What you got? Please share.
Okay, well, writing my why, I mean, I've shared my why with you before. I keep it, I've got my big why, but I have my whys in steps so that my goals are attainable.
Yep.
And I can always be shooting for the next one.
Yeah.
So my first one is a Toyota
The truck,
Tacoma
baby.
TRD Sport Edition. It's $49,000 the way I want it done, with a big ass.
You can absolutely say that.
Big ass Team Fusion logo right across the front of the hood. Okay?
Everybody feel that?
I'm tired of
Anybody got a doubt that she's not going to get a Toyota with a big ass Team Fusion on the front of the hood?
I'm tired of my little ass car that the air conditioner can't keep up with this heat down here. I've always wanted to travel. I do travel, but I love to travel. I haven't really went out of the country, and the big destination is New Zealand.
Come on.
I don't know why. I want to go to New Zealand, and the package I've put together is almost 10 grand. That's the next one. The third one is to retire by June of next year. My boss is retiring and I refuse to train any more idiots or do all the work and take let them take the credit
Yes.
for it. Not doing it anymore. But in going through,
Pause right there. Don't forget what you're about to say, but I want to do, you notice that she did not read one word off of that. And you felt every bit of that. Some of you had a release as well. You got a little drug hit in your body too because you lived that. Feel the difference? That's awesome. Keep going.
in doing Plan on the Page, I've been doing Road to Jade with you for a while, and then listening to Brian's speech this morning, which I live with him, I hear it all the time, but it didn't really hit me. It was the second note I took down, is that the big goal is by helping others see their destination will help me get to my destination.
Yeah.
And
That bleeds over. That bleeds over from your desire, the truck, New Zealand. Those are the desires. That's the why. What you just got into, and this is the next part, is the driving of the vehicle. You just nailed what I'm going to do for the rest of the day. Is that the way that you operate this vehicle is that you focus on the needs of another person. Some of you are not driven by focusing on the needs of other person. That's not your desire. That is absolutely okay. What is imperative that you get is that the way that you get what you desire is absolutely by helping the other person. It might not be the destination that for you, could be the destination, might not be the destination. What I hear from you is the car in New Zealand right now is the destination.
That's my ultimate destination,
Yes.
but to get to my destination, I need to help them see
That's the
their
car.
destination.
That's the vehicle. That is exactly it. When you get that part, Mr. Jones as well, he wants to impact 100,000 lives. Honestly, when it all comes down to it, and he'll agree with this, I'm 99.9% sure, is that that's the vehicle to be able to, it's going to make them feel good, but that's not the ultimate prize at the end of the finish line. It's the thing that's going to happen, and that's a cool thing. But it is a means to the end. That's so good that you got that. I love that you shared that too. As y'all have these, please share these. This is the importance of today. Who's got 5? Yes, question.
I just want to say, I love the way I love the way this is going today.
Oh, that was it?
Yeah, that's it.
Say it again. I like that. I want to hear it.
I've been to many trainings and regionals, so, I mean, not many, but, because it's been a little over a year, but I really love the way this is going today. Like,
Cool. I appreciate that feedback.
you know.
Yeah, y'all are a bunch of guinea pigs if y'all didn't know either. It's funny when you know how the experiment's going to go before you even do it. And that's how I know that this was going to do what it's going to do. That's why I've been saying it the way I've been saying it. And I said, I think this is going to do it. It's like, I know you're going to walk out of this thing going, whoa. Because I know when I've gone to something similar that's formatted this way, that it was absolutely life-changing. Makes a big difference. Cool. Who's got 5 names written down so far? Put your hand in the air. I need to see it to gauge the room. Keep them up. Okay. Couple people still working. Keep going. Any questions on what we're doing right now? So here's what's probably happening if, let's do it another way. Who does not have 5 names written down right now? Raise your hand for me. No? Ooh. Okay. Here's what just happened. Whoops. He showed up again. Didn't he? He started talking. What was the exercise? Write down 5 names. Holy crap. How long you been on the planet? How many people do you know? I need 5. I even helped you. Say, go on your phone, grab 2, 4, 7, 9, and 12. But what happens is this little fella shows up. These are the trees in the road that Brian was talking about. This is where you go get a chainsaw. This could get graphic, but we'll take the chainsaw. Take the chainsaw to him. Take that sucker clean in half. That's cool. He will. He'll come back. You can't kill It's like Groundhog Day. Y'all remember when Bill Murray got to that point where, I mean, he's jumping off into quarries with his car, he's electrocuting himself. Can't kill me. I'm a god.
That was a great movie.
You can't kill this guy. You can wound him for a little bit, and the way you wound him is all of a sudden he's hauling ass, man. He's writing down names like nobody's business right now. When you become aware of him, it's so funny. But he will keep you out of action. He will cause cortisol to dump in your body and keep you from doing something. It is a level of fear that he will cause to happen in your brain. And the way you get rid of him is you become aware of him. And as soon as you're aware of it, such a dumbass, you start writing names down. We all do it. It's so interesting.
It's concentration, because at the same time we were doing this, we were talking, people were working around.
Going all over the place, absolutely. And when that happens, oh, time for me to be distracted. I get a little break.
Yeah, it doesn't think
Yes.
The fact that you gave us the option to do that number thing
Mm-hmm.
is why I did it faster.
Catch it.
If I would have literally looked at the names, I probably would have.
I'm so glad you said that.
That is so true.
A lot of time went into figuring out those little numbers. I won't lie to you. Not the numbers, but the fact that I put the numbers on there. I was thinking about that a lot. It's when you know, and here it comes again, y'all are going to get so tired of me saying this. You know how to drive the car. I gave you explicit instructions on how to drive the car. Your goal was to fill out 5 names. That was your destination. And when you think that you can't do it because this guy shows up, then you don't get it done. He starts messing with you. The most simplest thing that we've done today, write down 5 names. And see how quick it was to keep some of you out of action. I'm not picking on you. I'm showing you how easy it is for him to show up. That's why there's empty seats right now. That's why there's not 550 people downstairs in a room with us. We launched this city January 5th of last year. Literally had 550 people in the room.
Yep.
Where are they now? This asshole showed up and got a hold of them. That's why they're not here. They have the destination. They don't know how to get there. Because he shows up. But because it was laid out, I do this, then I do this, then I do this, and I'm done. And you didn't say it went the fastest ever. You said it made it go faster. He still got a hold of you even still when you were writing it down. Alarm guy.
Yeah, number 7 was consultant support.
Call them up, see how they're doing. But here's another interesting thing. Y'all have already extrapolated that you're going to talk to these people about the business. That wasn't part of the exercise. I might just be saying, just call these people up and see how their day's going. You already used a pattern from your past of assuming where you were going. And because of that, I know he wants me to drive over here and go 120 miles an hour to get in front of this 18-wheeler, but that's not what I'm going to do. And you sit there and you don't do anything. Ever been driving and not quite sure which direction to go? What do? You ease off the gas. Some of you slam on the damn brakes. It's like, just coast, man. Just get out of my way. You're holding me up. When we don't know where to go, what do? We sit down.
Yep.
Get more information. Need more information. Need more information. Come to another regional. Come to another regional. I'm hard-headed. I'm going to keep coming to these damn regionals, and one day it's going to stick. But it never does. Because of this guy. Y'all getting this? Yes. Brian, you got, I see that look, man. Give him the microphone.
All right. One thing I did want to point out is what you just said is exactly it. We make assumptions and predetermined thoughts of where we're thinking we're going. And one of the things that I wanted to tell you is, I was at a lecture many years ago, and someone said, guy walks into an emergency room, he's bleeding profusely from his arm, and and you can tell he's got some major damage, and he walks up to the lady in the room and says, "Do you have any aspirin? I have a headache." Now think about that. The preconceived notion is, wow, look at this guy's arm. He must want to fix his arm. We put the cart in front of the horse way, way too many times and too often.
Yeah.
And then the cart is in one place and the horse goes another, and you don't get any movement at all. So like, the reason I'm saying that is the assumption is 2, 4, 7, 9, and 12. Oh, well, I'm gonna have to call these guys and talk to them about. You put the cart in front of the horse. Go with what is there and let the cards or the trail play out as it's supposed to, not as we think it's supposed to. So.
Love it. And to build off of that, what would have been even better, and you've seen that this is an open room to be able to ask questions and interact. A better question would have been, Casey, I want to ask a couple questions. Are these people that I'm going to need to call and talk to them about the business, or do you just want me to fill out the information? You have an assumption, test your assumption, get some more information, and then be able to do the exercise even better. But instead, what we do, because of the situation that we're in, the fact that I am elevated up off of the floor, sitting up here, and I have a microphone and a clicker, the construct is, don't interrupt that guy, and that's why y'all raising your hands like you're 5 years old. It's our social norms, it's the history, it's our experiences, it's all that stuff that goes into our brain that causes us to act a certain way. I'm trying to make you aware of it. And when you're aware of it, it'll disappear. And you will take more action. It's so good.
This is the way we've been taught since we were kids.
Absolutely.
Pays the front.
100%. Sit down, shut up, don't talk to the person next to you, raise your hand so you can be called upon. We literally called this on the contract, classroom style.
Yes. That's it.
It's nuts. And we wonder why we don't succeed in more things. Isn't it crazy?
We're taught to be able to run a factory, sit behind the desk, make shirt, make shoes, don't walk to the back, don't look to your side.
That's it. That's it. Very interesting that he just said that, and that's how this whole training is going to go. Is that I don't know how long it's going to take, by the way. I've got a whole bunch of stuff at the end that we will most likely not get to, but depending on how fast this goes, we'll have a bunch of that. Remember I said there's 3 parts. We're still in the first part, okay? And then we're going to do some stuff, and then I got that third stuff in the end, and we'll go through that quicker because that's informational stuff. But this is the experiential side. What he just said is very, very important. This right here on your paper says Jade Factory. That was not by accident. Factory is that you go in and you got that, she did this right here. Y'all know what that is, right? It's a conveyor belt that happens in the factory, okay? So I want you guys to live this one with me as well. I want you to kind of clear your mind, you don't have to move your seat back, put your hands on your legs or anything like that, but just roll with me here. Picture a factory in your mind. What's the first thing you see? Now let's go inside the factory. There's a conveyor belt going through the factory. There's usually an entrance and an exit. Raw material goes in, finished goods go out. You've got a workstation because you are in that factory. At your workstation, a couple things to point out. You've got the conveyor belt running by, and you've got a little extra off-ramp that pauses in front of you, and the main conveyor belt keeps going. So it kind of goes off this little exit ramp and goes up onto a little pedestal. And then you're going to do what you do, and then when you're done with it, you're going to push it back down, it's going to get back on the conveyor belt, and it keeps on going. With me so far? At your workstation, a couple things. You got a control panel. At this control panel, there's 3 things. There's a switch, up and down switch, there's a dial knob, and there's a lever. Okay? So what that switch is this rapport step right here. The knob is the peak. The lever is the edify and pass. Now put this out of your head and go back to the factory, because that was just words and you don't know how to make all that fit. You got a light switch, got a knob, got a lever. What's going to happen is raw material is going to come in on this conveyor belt. And it's a special factory, so it knows where that raw material comes from. It came from your dump truck that you brought to the factory, backed up, pulled the thing and caused all the raw material to fall out and get onto the conveyor belt. You got out of the truck, you went to your workstation, and then the line gets started, and this raw material comes by and comes up on a little platform. And what you're going to do each time, you're going to flip switch, turn knob, pull lever. When you pull that lever, it puts it back on the conveyor belt and keeps on going. Okay? Now, there's some other things downstream in this factory that you don't know about. If you're in a real factory, like a GM, and you're building, I don't know, cars, and your part at your workstation is to assemble the alternator, you do your part, but you don't know all the other things that are happening in the factory, but in the end, a car rolls out. Everybody with me?
Yep.
Now, back to your workstation in your factory, you've got your flip the switch, turn the knob, pull lever, got your conveyor belt, got your little platform that comes up on. Above that is a canvas. It's a picture. Picture frame, beautiful frame on it, and it's blank right now. That canvas is your why. It's why you come to the factory every day. Y'all with me? Y'all see that? I can spend 100 hours in PowerPoint trying to make that picture show up. But I just did it in about 2 minutes. Bumping my gums, moving air, hitting your ears. Y'all heard some funny little sounds emanating from me. And all of a sudden you walk through a factory that was completely imagined in your brain. Pretty crazy, huh? All right, let's keep going.
Can I
Yes, what you got, please?
imagine that factory being people? You're talking to different people every day.
Yep, don't get too far ahead of me. It's good stuff, but you're jumping a little ahead of me.
Okay.
So that's all the only reason I'm shutting it down.
Okay.
I'll keep doing the interaction, but I might shut you down so that we keep the flow on it, because I don't want to hit that just yet. Everybody got 5 names on their paper?
Yes.
Who's got 20? Anybody hit 20? You put your hand up like, I got the right answer! It's 7! The answer is 7. I loved it. That was so good. I felt that. But you did it. You accomplished that. You got 20.
Yeah.
Reading my desire the way that I put it. I'm like, all right, well, let's do this.
She's starting to catch on. This is how I drive the car. I desire this thing. My little canvas is clear. Let's get this freaking thing going. Turn the factory on. Let's move it faster. And you're getting it. You're seeing ahead what this thing is. So, next thing we're going to do, in your box, just below that, is the bio and phone number. Okay? Now, why do I put this in here? You might be saying, Casey, I know who this guy is. This is my paper. Why the hell do I need to write down their bio and their phone number? Because it's about them. Some of you are catching on to this thing that the vehicle, the way we drive to get to where we need to go in this factory, is we got to make it about the other guy. This is orienting your mind that, how do I know this person? Because when you see work, you see friend, you see family, church, sports, these stick figures up here elicit a thought. And there's some oxytocin that's being released into your body right now. That nice little feel-good thing that you have when you look at that name, or for some of you, cortisol when you see the other name. Why the hell do I have this guy in my phone? Y'all need to ask those questions too. If number 7 isn't a good one, why is he in your phone? Why is she in your phone? What's the feeling that you've got when you're writing this information about this person? Is it good or is it bad? You get to pick. If you don't like this person, if they don't go with your thing. Guess what? We don't have to like everybody. It's okay. There's some people it's not worth liking. We don't have to go put violence on them, but we can just say, you go over there, I'm gonna stay over here. We obviously don't see eye to eye. Make sure that you have a feeling about this person. Is this somebody that if they had a flat tire and you were driving by and you didn't have anywhere to go and you had an extra tire, would you help this person? Or is this person, if they called me at 3 in the morning and I'm in a deep sleep and I'm in Vegas and they need something, would I pick up the phone and answer? Depending on that bond, probably going to depend on who you're going to contact first. Here in a little bit. With me? Any questions on this? Anything anybody wants to share about this as they were writing these names down?
What if they're a business partner?
If they're already a business partner?
Just, yeah, if you just.
Yeah, no, cool. Call them up, see how they're doing. And that's a really good thing. When you've got business partners, guess who you're probably going to be contacting the most in your day when you're doing the business?
Yeah.
Those people. You need to make sure they've got what they need. Because it's about them. Brian's guys in his factory, do you think he ever goes up to him and says, how you doing this morning?
Probably.
Probably. Why? Because he's a servant leader. It's about them. Now, if Brian had $1.3 billion, is he going to be at that factory checking in on them every day? I don't know. Depends on Brian. Depends on what he wants. What's his desire? Is his desire to have the ARC factory that he has to employ 17 people, or is that a means to his final thing? Is that the vehicle he goes through? While he's doing that, he might as well make it about them because that's going to be the best way to do it. I don't know. It's up to Brian. Not my thing. And don't let anybody else tell you what your thing is. If you want $1 million a week, write that down and go get it. If anybody has a problem with that, tell them to piss off. Because they ain't paying your bills, like he said. All right? Some of you, that might freak you out. That's okay. I'm all right with that. Some of you need to hear that. Yes, sir?
Well, I'm sure there are also, there are also situations where they may be paying your bills, but you're 18 or 20 or 21 and you're looking to break free and do your own thing.
Absolutely.
So this works for that situation as well.
It sure does. And that's why I will never tell somebody what their desire is. That's on you. Now, I'll help you get there. I'll keep fighting with you to get down in there and break through all the crust that's been building up, the rust and the nonsense and all the layers of crap that has hit you to get to that core thing. Because when you touch that, whoo, you get up. You ever talk to somebody and they give you chills? Has that ever happened? Have you ever gotten goosebumps by the words that somebody else said? Did anybody just get them?
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. That's powerful. That's touching that source. That's when you know you got something good going on. Everybody got this written in? 5 people? You know how you know them? Did you write their phone number down? Now, Casey, I don't have their phone number. We just talk on Facebook all the time. Snapchat, Instagram. I don't really know their phone number. I don't even know where they live. Cool. Write that down too. That's fine. Let's move on down to the 4th box. Next to the first box, this is the second most important box. This is where the rubber hits the road. It's not theory anymore. It's not thinking about them. It's actually taking action. Okay? What's important to them? This is how you drive the car. It's got to be about them. It can't be about you. Do you know anybody that you chat with, go to lunch with, talk on the phone with, work with, whatever, that all the damn time talks about themselves? They call you up to tell you about them. And they spend 30 minutes on the phone By the way, who's the dumbass? You enabled them. God, they just talk about themselves all the time, and you sit there and listen. Now, if you want to, if you desire to listen, be there, that's cool. If you, I had a guy yesterday, it's so funny, I was at my embroidery store, and he's a business owner, he's actually a pretty interesting guy. He was thirsty, he needed a big glass of shut the hell up. I mean, really thirsty. Kept on and on and on. Got to a point where he finally took a breath, and I wanted to share a few things with him and communicate and share my experiences and thoughts and have a conversation and not just listen to the soliloquy that he was giving. I wanted to share something. I got 3 words into it and he started up again. I said, hold on a second, let me go ahead and finish my part. 2 before, right across the nose. He shut up. He wasn't even aware he was doing it. But he shut up and he listened for a little bit. I impacted him and brought value to him like he was bringing. He was saying good stuff, but then we took our 3rd trip around the track. I only need to go around the track 1 time. I got it. 2, I'll be polite. 3, you're wasting my time now, and you're irritating me. Why? Because I got pretty major focus on some things that I want to achieve. And if they're going to align with this guy, cool. And they did. I don't need to hear it again. Now I need to tell you how we're going to work together. And if you can't hear that, then you're going to be out of my life and you're irritating me. That's how I roll. That's how I am goal directed on what I want to achieve. If I can bring him value at the same time, we're going to do business together. If I can't, you go do you, baby. But if you keep talking like that, I can't deal with that. I don't like that. I'm not going to participate in that. There are 6 million other people in Houston that I can talk to. It's cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, what's important to them? Is it their wealth? Is it their health? Do they want more time freedom or do they want more significance? This is such an important thing to figure out. The reason that we want to know this is because this is what we can help them with our opportunity. First time I've started talking about Kayani, and we are 3 hours in. Kayani just happens to be the vehicle. Actually, let's say this. It's the brand of the car. Some of you put a Kayani sticker on the side of your car. Some of you got 2 Mercedes with stickers on both of them. I got to pick which Mercedes I was going to drive on Tuesday morning. I grew up in a trailer park in New Caney, Texas, on 7 acres that I got to mow the lawn and sand boards on. Have I mentioned that before? We didn't have Mercedes, much less 2 of them that I got to choose from. That was cool. That does it for me. Some of you might say, I don't care, man. Dopamine hit like no other. 2 sets of Mercedes keys. Which one am I going to pick up? That's awesome. That works for me. It might not be your thing. I'm good with that. It ain't. I want that. I desired that. I got to do that. That's what was in my box. Didn't even know it was in my box until I saw that. I said, that's in my box and I'm checking it off right now. That was neat for me. Anyway, Kayani, what we're able to offer for these guys here, these 4 things is what we can offer. If they desire that, we can help them. The guy I was talking to yesterday, if he desires some things that I can offer, we do business together. If he desires something that I can't give, we don't do business. We still be friends. We can chat, share ideas, mastermind, come up with new stuff, but doesn't mean we're doing transactional business together. It's okay. This is what we can do transactional business with. These are the things that are going to cause somebody to go onto a website, click some buttons, put a credit card in some fashion, and cause a check to show up in your mailbox. And that check is going to help you in some fashion get your Y box. See how that works? The money isn't the thing. The money is more grease on the wheel. It's the vehicle that gets you to what you want. Some of y'all, as we've been talking about what you desire, have already went in there and said, it's gonna cost me $47,342 for that Toyota. That house is gonna be $500,000 and the boat's gonna be $100,000. I'm good with that. Know what it's gonna be. Build it in your mind. Go out and see what it's gonna take. More destination-specific stuff. I wanna go to LA. Where do you wanna go in LA? I don't know, I just wanna go to LA. I wanna go see the tar pits. I've been fascinated by dinosaurs for thousands of years. I can go see tar pits. Now you know a more specific destination. Much more likely you're gonna go see those tar pits than just say, I'm going to LA. See what I'm saying? I know that car is gonna cost this because I loaded it down with every option. I got a picture, I know the color, I know where the sticker's going, I got it all nailed down. And y'all felt that. So does she. That gets her up in the morning, keeps her going. Brings her to the factory. Figure out what this person wants, help them get what they desire, and when you do, you get your box. Everybody see that? That one's the easy one. Next thing is, how do I have a conversation with this person to find this out? Nowhere in what I'm about to say are you going to mention Kyani, products, sunrise, sunset, nitro, fluoresce, serum. None of that stuff needs to come up. Because then you start talking about what you have to offer. Now with me? This one's going to mess with some of you. It's hard not to keep saying what we do. It's very, very difficult for some people to just simply talk about what's important to them. Why? Because we're human beings. We spent the last 3 hours talking about what's important to us. We know what's important to us. The way you get that is shut up and listen to what they want. Ask questions to them to dig into what they want. When I was chatting with you all, talking about your desires, I did not mention mine while I was discussing with you at that moment. I was solely in with you. I didn't say, oh, you know what? That Toyota is really nice, but what I think you should do is probably get a Mercedes, okay? Because these things, I didn't make it about me. That's what she desires. And I switched it over to talk about what I desire, and you sound kind of like an ass, don't you, when that happens?
Yeah.
I had this happen at lunch the other day. I'm a terror at lunch nowadays at work. It's pretty funny. And this is a group that I hang out with. They're fun, they're a distraction, they're my entertainment for the day. I gotta eat, I didn't have a meeting, or one got canceled because somebody decided they didn't want to come see me. So then I slum it with these to go out for my entertainment value. Every one of them in the business too, by the way, but not here, because whatever. One of the girls there, and Maggie, if you ever see this video, I'm talking about you, for the camera. And I can just about guarantee you, at her current pace, she will never see this video. I'm telling a story about something that happened. I'm maybe 15 seconds into it. She goes, you know what? That happened to me. And blah, 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 blah. I let her go on for about 5 seconds. I said, oh, I'm sorry, Maggie. Why don't you interrupt me, tell your version of the same story I was going to tell because it's more important to you. You're such an asshole. Yeah, but you're the one that interrupted me. Everybody else was rolling. It's that type of relationship, but that's how it went down.
You would do it too.
Oh, I sure would. Like I said, this is my entertainment. It's like a cat with a mouse, man. It's not fair, but I'm sick like that, so whatever. I desired entertainment, I got entertainment. Check mark. But that's what will happen, so don't do that. It's hard because you've been doing it forever and not even aware that you were doing it. Be aware. Make it about them. Go as deep as you possibly can so that you can get all the way into why do you desire wealth? Why do you want financial freedom? Why do you want the Toyota? Why do you want the boat? Why do you want why do you desire what you wrote on there? dig into it to that level with them. When you get done, you're going to be able to put a check mark. Now, right now, for some of these names, and pretty likely the ones that you wrote in, if you're just doing this for the first time, you're going to be able to put a check mark in the box right now for what you think they desire. And start there. Just like you thought that we were going to contact these people, and you were right, it was a great assumption. But instead of guessing, and then just moving forward as if that is a fact, ask.
Yeah.
So to start with, put your assumption down. For the people that you have, write down what you think they desire. Underneath of that, you'll see there's a line, right? So there's kind of two lines, two sentence lines there. Now, we're not talking War and Peace here where you can get into a long dissertation about that. You can go outside the boxes too. Some of y'all crack me up. Just tiny little, write on the whole damn paper, flip around to the back, do what you need to do. More of that classroom thing, man, getting a hold of y'all. Break the rules.
Stay inside the line.
Yep, y'all are coloring right into that little box. Look at me, I got it right. We were taught that, it's ridiculous. Anyway,
Yes.
write in there why you check the box too. If you can't, what if you don't know which box to check? What if I check the box but I really can't articulate why I picked that box? It's a feeling that I have. If that's the case, then guess what? You need to have a conversation. You need to find out what they desire. You need to make it about them. Well, how do I do that? You ask questions, and then you shut your pie hole. Have you ever gotten into a conversation and you are explaining stuff, and you can't stop explaining, and then they ask you a question, and you keep explaining more stuff? And it's like you got a shovel, and you just keep digging and digging and digging, and 30 minutes later, you have told them everything there is to know about Kiani. You've done an excellent job too, because you were paying attention in class, and you got all the information from the last regional, and you are an expert at regurgitating all that information to them. And then what did they do? Not for me. Have a good day. Not interested. What? I did the presentation perfectly. Why didn't they say yes? Because they thought that to drive the car to get to the destination is going to require them to learn all this nonsense and regurgitate that over a 2-hour period, and they weren't interested in doing that. They don't see themselves making it around traffic to be able to drive that vehicle. I'm not driving the vehicle, I'm out.
Scared them off.
Scared them off. But I told them all the stuff they need to know. No, you didn't. You told them what you thought they needed to know. You told them why you joined. You told them all the things that were, they need to know these things. They need to know that you need 10,000 QV to hit Sapphire. That you get a car in $500. No, they don't. You needed to know that. Therefore, you thought you should share that with them. That's not your job in this factory. If you want this factory to hum, and believe me, this factory, my factory is good. My factory is blowing up. This thing's been tested and proven. Anybody see my name on that top 50 list? You know how weird it is for me to say what I just said? It gives me bleh. I don't like saying that. I say that so that you know that this ain't theory. I say that so you know that the factory works. Anybody see that Emerald trip? So many of y'all helped make that happen too. Thank y'all. Ask questions and listen. Listen. Y'all heard the thing? You got 2 of these, 1 of those. Use it in that ratio. Go deep. When I asked some of you all to share your why, the first thing that you said was all factual. but it did not elicit a response from everybody else. You did not inspire. You said some cool things, great words, but they were words. There was no picture associated to it. But then you got to the thing, and I asked, did y'all feel that? That was the thing. Dig and ask more questions. That's a skill. That's about the only skill that you need to get better at, plus listening. But this one isn't as easy as listening. Listening's kind of simple. Zip this, use this, got it. Don't make this a crazy thing. But a couple of the ditches to keep you on the road so you don't get too far off into the woods. Be a friend, not an interrogator. Some of y'all are like, damn. You're like with the heat lamp, you know, waterboarding them. I mean, y'all are they come out of that being like, I don't know what happened, but it didn't feel good at all. And that is a skill. I'll tell you straight off. It's not an easy thing to just inherit. Some of you got it, some of you don't. That's okay. Work on that. If you make it about them, this is extremely simple. If you're trying to think of the next thing to say about your opportunity, you're not doing this part very well. You're not going to do this. You're going to be doing this. Well, do you like working here at this place? Do you want to change that? Not anymore. You're an ass. Y'all get that? All right, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. You got to make it about them. Have a conversation and be a human. It's important enough that I wrote that, and it's one of the last bullet points on this slide. That's a big deal. Be a human. If you will focus, once your focus, your awareness is in your room in the hotel, and you know that is what I want, that is what I desire, it gets me out of bed in the morning. It's why I walk up to my station in the factory. As soon as that happens, that gets your day started. It's back there. And it's bright enough and hot enough that it will sustain you through the day. When you get to this step, you got to shut that room down and you need to move your orb to their room. And you keep it there. And anytime it slips back to yours, going, I'm going to make so much money off of this person. They know everybody. They're going to open up the country of India. We're going to open up Nigeria, Eddie. It's crazy. We had a guy later, we're going to open up Nigeria with him. I'm just going to tell you all that right now. Nigeria is taken care of. Y'all find another country. We got it. At that moment, sitting at Buffalo Wild Wings on a Thursday, my orb went from Emmanuel to mine. It went to my room. I didn't beat myself up about it. I was aware of it. And I said, get your butt back over in that room. Just like that. And I'm back to him. I was excited because it's my room. But I went back to him real fast. And focus on that. If you'll keep it there, this is the easiest thing to do. Where you screw yourself up is when you go back to your room. While you're there with them. There's time for that when this is done. It's got to be about their room for a second. And when you do that, you will build, this is the stuff that's behind the scenes downstream of your workstation that has been engineered into this thing. It will build so many bonds with that person. Have y'all felt like you've bonded in the room today? When you first walked into the room, did you feel like kindergarten, like where the hell am I going to sit? Who's going to sit next to me? God, I hope they don't stink. I hope they're nice. Did y'all, any of y'all have any of those types of things? Some of you sat in the back, some of you sat in the front. And it's so crazy, right? But now you felt like you bonded. Why? Because you shared information. You've heard other people say things that elicit a response in your mind and you have a connection to them. That's the behind the scenes stuff that happens in the factory if you just shut up and listen. It is incredible to me the number of times that I sit there and I won't say anything Well, I'll start the conversation, I'll prime the pump, and then I will live, you'll watch me. I have to do this too, this is. That's why this finger goes here. That's why I said, Brian, I know you want to say something, because I know his tell now. He did it too. He went back and forth. When he does that, he's ready to say something pretty profound. Give the man a microphone. Do what you got to do to make it about them. If you'll just sit there quietly the whole time, they will tell you everything. Once you get the 4-year-old to start talking, boy, they start telling you stuff that you didn't know was missing, that they stole and buried and hid. It's like, dang, it's like confession, right? I mean, you get going and then it's all out. It's like, whoa. Just sit there, let them keep going. Build the file on them, but not from an interrogation perspective. Do it so that you know. I know about that Toyota. I can see that damn truck. I know what that truck looks like. If I see that truck on the road, I'll take a picture of it and I'll send it to her. I'll do that because she's going to go,
I got a picture already.
there's something big about that too. Have that picture of your desire. Y'all heard of vision boards before? Some of you go and say, oh, there's a magazine that looks like the right type of thing, and you settle for the first picture that does that. And about 2 weeks later, you ain't looking at that anymore. Anybody think she looks at that picture of that truck?
Yeah.
Oh, that thing, she built that thing. Right? See the difference? And that, when you have it on your phone, is it like your screensaver, or?
It's going the wrong way to make it my screensaver, but I got it
She's
where I can see it all the time. Yeah.
That's powerful. Now I want you to fill out why. I want you to check the box for 5 of these. It can be all the boxes, that's fine. And then I want you to write down why you checked those boxes. If you don't know, put a question mark right there, and now you know you need to have a conversation. I've known you for 15 years, and I don't know what the hell motivates you. It's a very good start to a conversation. That is not talking about the Astros, the weather, or traffic. Those are my 3 most irritating topics. I love the Astros. I don't need to talk about it. Did you see the Astro game? They won or lost? They won. Yay! 161 more games to go. That's not moving the needle for me. It sure is hot. Yep. Welcome to Houston. Wait till next month. Shoot me. Just put me out of my misery. Man, traffic sure sucked today. Sure did. And these all happen in the elevator too. Yeah. You know, I prefer if you just shut up. I'm reading a little news thing on here for something important. Or, let's have a real conversation. Dad, don't ask me about the weather. What motivates you? Do that on Monday morning when you're going into your building. HR might call you at lunchtime. I don't know. Here you've been harassing the people here. So, what you're doing right now, check marks in the check boxes. Don't let your terrorists get a hold of you. And you know what's interesting is it's less likely here because your focus is on them. That's how you make your terrorists go away, by the way. Whenever you're having a bad day, when it's all about you and your nonsense, when your little guy just... The instantaneous way to fix that is to focus on another person and their desires. You will absolutely stop thinking about your stuff, your nonsense, how bad of a day you're having. The argument that you had at the house with your spouse. Why the kids won't do what they need to do. Why didn't they take the trash out yet again? That's you. Self-talk. Will you fix that? Focus on somebody else. Everybody got theirs filled out?
Can you put like 2, either like kind of in between them? You can do whatever you want, right?
Oh yeah, you can absolutely check all 4 boxes.
Okay. Now,
What
if you think they're like potentially like a customer, is health and wealth like, or health inside out, is that?
Yes, and I did the inside and out because that's going to be, you know, is the fluorescent going to be able to help them?
Okay.
Or is the triangle going to be able to help them?
Okay.
What you got?
I was just going to say that out of the whole plan on the page, this is by far the most significant thing that you have to find out. Because if you go to ask them, like you said, hey, you're tired of your job, and they say, yeah, you might say, oh, they need more money. No, they might be tired of their job because they're tired of being in traffic. They might be tired of their job because it's not helping be significant to anybody else, or it's not significant for them. So you have to be able to go deep. And when he says go deep, I mean go deep. Just don't hear that first word and be like, oh, I got you.
Yeah.
Right? And be like, oh, that's what I'm going to focus on. So I can tell you, learning this the hard way, I did that, and it bit
That
me in the
conveyor
butt.
belt was moving fast.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, this is by far more important than the name itself. Because if you just meet a stranger and have a conversation, this is the most important thing.
Exactly.
You should go in with a plan of asking at least 2 to 3 whys.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yes, and I would take that one step further and don't even put a limit, just like don't put, I've gotta have this, I gotta be retired by June on that. I get why, because there's an extra driver. That's not a made up date. There's a driver to that. But when it starts getting to May, and if you haven't got there yet, it's gonna really freak you out on June. So go until. When I gave my speech earlier, I have dates in there. I'm doing that from a perspective of actually speaking it into existence. It doesn't, when I say it now, it used to screw with me. My previous company, to hit basically the diamond level, basically it was diamond and really the emerald level in the other one. I put a date on it. And I pushed like crazy because it motivated me to move, because I hate not hitting my goal. But it also ruined me for 2.5 months. After I missed that, I pouted about it for 2.5 months. Anybody ever done that before? Don't put 2 hands up, it's cool. So it wasn't one that's or else. It's a line in the sand. It's not a line in concrete. It's a line in sand. That's cool. We're going to get here. If we don't, we miss that one, put another one. Just don't let that knock you out of the game. So, number of times to do it. You do it and you keep going until you get it. When you're dealing with their why or your why. So important. One thing I want to address that he said, and I know what he means, but I want to be clear on that because somebody might interpret that differently. This is not the most important box on the plan on the page. It is the second most important box on the plan on the page.
I know the first one.
Y'all got the why, exactly. But from what we're talking about here, yes. Once that's clear, out of the rest of these boxes, this is the most important box, and that's exactly what he was meaning. It is all about, and once you know where you're going, this is the vehicle. First box is the destination. The rest of this and all the other pages is the vehicle. It's got to be about them. And being about them, this is the most important one about being about them. At our workstation, back in our factory, conveyor belt going by, you've got your canvas, you got your light switch, you got your knob, you got your lever. This is the light switch. When that raw material that you dumped out of the dump truck, which is your 20 names by the way, you put it on the conveyor belt, it comes up and it goes up on the little on-ramp here, and it's sitting up here for it to be inspected and to do what we do here. You flip the light switch, the light, the orb is on them. And you leave it there until you know the chemical makeup of that thing. That's how deep you go down. You know them like you know them, and that's weird for a lot of people. They're not used to going that deep, but they'll be cool with it. It's just most people don't exercise that. Nobody asks those deep questions. Weather, Astros, traffic. We're going over here. Get in the boat, full steam ahead. I'm gonna walk you through some questions. And here's why they're gonna be cool with it. What's the most favorite thing in the world to talk about?
Themselves.
Themselves. Human nature 101, baby. Now sometimes it takes a little bit to get them going. Here's what that is. Trust. Do you have trust with them? I walk into an elevator with somebody I don't know and I start asking them their hopes and dreams and their debt on the universe. We're going to get that call to HR, right? there's no trust. Your best friend in the whole wide world starts having this conversation with you. You give them a hug, y'all are crying over, drinks and everything else afterwards. Because trust. You gotta have trust with these people. How many people have gone out and tried to get cold market leads on the internet? How'd that work out? Not too good. Why? No trust. You gotta do this. What's that word mean? Oh, that's the word. What does it mean?
Trust.
Build a relationship.
Build trust.
All those things. All those things, exactly. When they give you something personal, trust has been established. Make sense?
Yep.
That's why a cold market doesn't work. It never works. But Casey, there's so many people that get people off the internet. What do? They build rapport with them first, and it's no longer cold market. Now it's warm market. Everybody was cold market at some point to you. The person sitting next to you, most likely, if you came here together, you didn't know them forever. Know them for a long time, maybe. But there was at one point where they were another stranger. Stranger danger. But then there was common ground. You like little yellow dump trucks, they like little yellow dump trucks in kindergarten, and now you know they're in your wedding. Interesting, isn't it? Common ground. You found common ground. You had Casey, how do I figure to be a human? You've been doing it since kindergarten. Do you like little yellow dump trucks? I sure do you? Sure do. And He-Man too. Awesome. Let's be best friends. So you got to build that rapport. That's what this is doing as well. It's building the trust bond. It's remembering the trust bond. Haven't talked to somebody in a year. Casey, I can't just call these people up and start talking about the business. Remember that carpet bombing approach that y'all didn't like? That didn't feel good, didn't feel natural? Why is that? You felt it. You're breaking the system of human beings, reality of nature. When you've gone and you tried to throw up blueberries all over them, it's about you, it's not about them, and it doesn't work. For some reason, we get into this and we think the rest of the rules of the universe don't apply. This factory takes that into consideration. Well, it takes too long to do this. Well, so does it. It takes a long time to make $15,000 a month doing whatever you're doing right now and not going to work anymore. Yep. Well, there's some people that built it so fast. Bamboo tree, baby. Bamboo tree. Was not their first rodeo. Yes, sir.
Speed is not stable either.
No.
As you and I have all seen, and many other people in this room, you've got your rockets that, go zippity-doo-dah in 28 days or 31 days, and then 45 days later, they're gone.
They go.
There's no duplication. There's no stability.
No. And that does not get you to your why, by the way. Because there's nothing that's been built there. It's a house of cards.
Built on sand.
It is. You look at my organization, and not me saying it, but many others. Look on Team Fusion, look at all the leaders that are above me that sees what's in my back office, and they say one of the top retention groups in the entire globe for what we do. Why? Because it's built on this. It's built on rebar and concrete, not sand. Build that relationship. Do it here. Now, here's the next thing. Some of you stay over here for a long time. I mean, you could write a book. And if that's your desire to do a bibliography or a biography on them, you do you, baby. But if your desire is what you put in that first box, the way you drive this car is get to it. Once you got there, you're there, it's time to move on. You're holding up the conveyor belt. There's a backlog. Anybody experience that? Anybody want to share how that works? Linda, why don't you share? She said, no! I was being nice and following and raised my hand.
Yeah, well, I mean, the conversation just goes on and on and on and on.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's happened to me 2 or 3 times. I just get tired. And I have actually put a no in the box because I'm tired.
That's funny. Now, here's a very interesting thing, and I'm picking on Linda, because this is another form of being selfish. And this one might be a little leap for some of you, but follow me here. Why didn't you get to the point? Why didn't you ask and move forward with it?
Maybe because I felt like I didn't know the right questions to ask.
Very good. Very good. And if you didn't have the right questions to ask, what's going to happen?
I'm going to the next.
No, too far. If you don't know the right answer, what's that going to do to you?
Lose control of the
I'm
conversation.
going to lose interest. I'm going to give up.
Because you don't know the right things to say, is what you mentioned.
Right.
Well, is there an issue with having the wrong things to say?
I'm getting better.
No, stay with me. Is there a problem having the wrong things to say? How does it make you feel when you get the wrong answer?
A bit of a failure.
More drugs in the system called cortisol. Don't like that. Would you have a little breakthrough?
Well, I would think that she didn't have confidence in what she was doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't know the right questions. But I'm digging deeper. Who cares if you don't have the right questions? You can still talk. It wasn't an issue where she said that she wasn't talking to him. She never progressed because she didn't know what to do. And when she didn't know what to do, she was going to get the wrong answer. Cortisol dump, don't want the wrong answer, danger, tiger, bear, lion, hot stove, bad relationship, all terrorists comes in and you don't keep moving because you don't want to have the wrong answer. And it's about you again. See that? Does that, anybody lace that shoe on up on that one?
Cheryl just
Tried it on and said, oh, that fit. Oh, what's that?
Cheryl just slapped it.
Slap that terrace. Huge, I love that. That right there, oh, that's huge. Do y'all have a bond? I know, but does everybody else, they don't know. Do y'all have a bond together? Like pretty damn tight, right? You ever see somebody's terrorist getting a hold of them? Do you sit there and let it happen, or do you beat the crap out of their terrorist? Now sometimes when you swing that 4x4, you might graze them. It's okay. We'll pick those splinters out later. Sometimes you gotta hit that terrorist so hard, it knocks your friend down too. Do that. They'll appreciate it. Okay? But make it about the terrorist, not about your friend. Make it about the action, not the person. If you got kids, do that same thing. Yes, ma'am?
How you do that?
How do you do that? Your terrorist is getting a hold of you. That's what you do. Do you realize that you've got voices going on right now that's telling you a whole bunch of nonsense? Do you realize that's happening to you right now? Make them aware. Put the spotlight on them. Gets right back to, make it about them. It doesn't matter if you're talking about a prospect. Doesn't matter if you're talking about a team member, your spouse, your kids. It comes back to that focus, and where do you put that or? Put it over the other person, and no matter what. Zig Ziglar nailed it. You help enough people get what they want. What's the rest of that?
You get what you want.
You get whatever you want, whatever you desire.
Casey,
Yes, sir.
when people are talking and then they start getting off, most of the time what I do is just grab their shoulder and it snaps them back in.
Yes. They don't even, that terrorist is, you know when, have you ever noticed when somebody goes subconscious on you? They're just bumping their gums about stuff that they're repeating and it's not real. You see them glaze over, they're gone. Where'd they go? Somewhere in their hotel, some room, but they ain't here. They gone.
They're in the black hole.
And what you gotta do is say, hey, get back over here.
Touch them. Move.
That's it. Slap them, 2 before, whatever. You do you. But be you. Don't try to be anybody else in that situation. Do you. Very important on that too. Then it's authentic and you build a bond. Don't do it to be right. That's about you. Make it about them. Got it? Everybody got this filled out?
Yep.
Raise your hand if you do not have 5 check marks on your pages with, most importantly, check marks easy. Did you write words? Did anybody not write words for 5 people? Raise your hand if you had.
Yeah.
I got one that I gotta talk to first
Still gotta talk
before I
to.
can fill out the box.
I'm good with
But
that.
other than that.
I'm good with that. But you must fill that out. If you don't, you haven't gone deep enough. Like Rob was saying, you haven't gotten there. You gotta get there. Peak. How bad do you want to fix that? Somebody read out something that they wrote in the lines for the report box. Somebody share with me. Jake.
In the report box?
Yeah, and the 2 lines underneath the
Yeah.
check marks.
The one guy wants to buy a condo on the golf course.
Wants to buy a condo on the golf course. Pretty specific. Conversation's been held. Somebody that he knows well, or you don't just randomly walk up and say, hey, do you want a condo on the golf course? That's gonna be weird. So obviously he has trust with somebody. So with that, how bad do you want that condo on the golf course? When you're having a conversation, this conversation can be held face to face, which is the best, but not always geographically possible. Don't let that be a limit. We're in the age of technology where that is not an issue anymore. Okay? Not as much of an issue. Face to face always will be the thing. Maybe 5,000 generations from now, to erase the history and the DNA of what's in our bodies right now is face to face, eyeball to eyeball, shake a hand. Every culture's got a way that they grab hands and touch somebody to be able to show trust. Peace pipe, whatever it is. But that will always be the thing because that's how we're wired. And when that happens, we get a little hit of oxytocin, by the way, and that builds that relationship. That's where that drug comes from. That's why we want to go and see something face to face. Who here likes the Astros, by the way? We're not going to have a goofball conversation. It's going to be a real one. All right? Do you guys like watching it on TV or going to Minute Maid?
Go to Minute Maid.
Minute Maid. Is it a hassle to go to Minute Maid?
Yes.
Traffic sucks? Yeah. Sometimes they have the roof open, or like, what the hell were they thinking? Yeah.
Yeah.
But you still go. Why? Because you get a major bump of oxytocin when you do that. That drug, that rush. That's why I go see a Metallica concert, I get a whole lot more fun going to it than I do listening to it on the radio. I still like it on the radio, but it's not the same as being there. Y'all know what I'm saying? Same thing face to face. Same drug, same thing. That's why. So if you can, do it. Don't drive an hour and 15 minutes to do it. You can do it on the phone, and it's pretty damn close. You can do a Zoom where they can see you and hear you, and that's pretty powerful as well. It's more efficient. It's based on your time and how much you're going to be able to put towards this desire of this business and what you want.
FaceTime.
FaceTime. Multiple different ways of being able to do that. But when you can see somebody's eyeballs, it makes a much bigger difference. Dave and I just had a connection. When I'm looking around the room, it's happening, but not like that. Not like that, Tammy. It's just different, right? So consider that. So when you're chatting with them, when you're reaching out to them and finding these things out, then you want to find out how bad do they want it? How bad do they want the condo on the golf course? You're trying to get a layer in here. Are you serious about fixing that? You said that Susie needs to get to college. I heard you say that. Wealth box, check mark. Why Susie, college? You've been telling me that for the last 3 years that you need to do something about that. 2 before time, terrorist. You gonna keep bumping your gums about that, or are you actually gonna freaking get it done? It's your daughter we're talking about. Ooh, that's tough talk. That's harsh. No, it's having a conversation, and we're not paddling out here. We're setting the rudder. We're going over there. What's over there? I don't know, but we're going. Let's go. Current's gonna take us, wind's gonna blow us, storms are gonna show up, but we're still going that direction, and we'll keep course correcting to get there. That's putting the rudder in the water to go. That's moving the needle. That's making it about them and a good conversation. Yes, sir.
And a lot of you probably ask yourself, oh, well, I can't say that to my friends. I can't say that to a regular person. The first thing that I do is I tell people when we do get into this, hey, I'm not calling you out, I'm calling you up. And when you look at it that way, and they think and they know that you're worried about them and care about them, okay, this person is calling me up. He's not calling me out.
Yeah. We know the difference when somebody's trying to be right at our expense and talking trash, and when they're coming from love. That's built in, man. We figured that out in kindergarten too. You know the difference, right? 2 different drugs are released in the body. Sometimes, if you're so wrapped up in your own BS and somebody's actually coming to try to help you, you are so out of whack that when they do come truly to help you, you push them back. That's your terrorist, by the way.
That's where your handshake, your touch.
Yep,
your
all kinds of
guidance
different things, yep.
your guidance.
Absolutely. So how long have you been dealing with that? I'm no rocket science, but it sounds like that's getting a little old. You want to fix it or not? Be ready for not. Notice that there's 2 boxes on there. Do you want to fix that? Nope. Do you know anybody like that that bitches all the time and will never do anything to fix it? Who wants to share? Let's get some therapy going on here. Who wants to share? Unless they're sitting next to you. That's going to be weird. Go for it.
I have a friend. She's a cancer survivor. Now she's diagnosed with fibromyalgia, diabetes, blood pressure. She's in pain all the time. She calls into work. And she's very close to my wife and I. And my wife, who's thick-headed and hard-headed and stubborn, started taking kind on me. And she's like, oh my God, this is the best thing in the world. So we told her. She's like, no, I'm fine. Then I don't want to hear you complain, nag all the time. I'm so tired. I'm in so much pain. I can't come to dinner. I feel so horrible. Then do something about it.
I love it. Powerful. Let's pause right there. I want to point out, and we're going to get to some more because I want to hear more of y'all share on this. She said, I'm tired of hearing about it. It's interesting. You're going back to you in that situation. Now, everybody's got their limit. I'm not, some guru, yogi guru, Yoda, any of that type of stuff. I'm going to get irritated faster than anybody in this room, I can just about guarantee. He's close. We're going to be close, but one of us is going to get irritated pretty fast with people's BS, right? I'm talking about Brian back there. So I struggle with that. I struggle with putting up with that nonsense because, dude, seriously, I can absolutely fix this thing for you. I want to help you. But then my orb goes back to me. You're irritating me. I'm tired of your nonsense. From a business perspective, if this is somebody you truly care about, you stay with that orb there until you can't do it anymore. That's true love. I know it sucks. But we all have our line, or we don't. That's your desire on how far you want to go. From a business perspective, depending on which one's more important, what's your desire? Getting them out of their nonsense, or you hitting your desire? That's up to you to decide. If your thing is, I want to help this person no matter what, you might not be dollar-wise as successful as somebody else, but you're at a success level of why you joined. A lot of people don't do this for the money. Just a quick heads up. If you think they're doing it about the money, I will absolutely get you, Cheryl. If you think that they're doing it for the money or they got to be doing it for the money, guess what that means? You're doing it for the money. Yep. Completely fine with that. Again, that's your desire. But you're not going to get that if you focus on that. You got to focus on them at this point. Get what I'm saying? Yep. Now, if you got somebody that's got, you can go for gold 3,000 feet deep. Or you can hit gold at about 90 feet. You decide if it's worth it to you to dig that deep to hit that gold. It's always there. And it will always be worth it. You got to decide if you want to go that deep. Does that make sense? But back to their nonsense. Depending on you, what that limit is, if there is a limit, that's when you hit the eject button this raw material is not worth it for me to work on to get them to where I want to get them, they're going to keep bitching all day. I might be able to influence them, but I might not win in the end of helping them. They might be so far beyond, and you're going to sit there and spin. Some of you do that and sit there in that engagement process with them without being aware of it. And you go into a black hole spinning. All I'm doing is bring your awareness up, and you make the decision if you want to do that. If that's what rolls for you, buddy, do you. I'm good with that. But make sure you're making a conscious decision to do that, and you're not in some goofy mind game with this person. Okay? That make sense?
Yeah.
Sure.
Just from a perspective, I have lupus, and your friend may be, a lot of people try a lot of different things, so she may not be ready to try it because she doesn't want to be disappointed again. So put her in your drip folder and just, you know, put like we were learning last night with what you're posting on Facebook and what she's seeing you do. It's going to pique her, and she'll eventually, more than likely, she'll eventually come to you and ask you about it.
Yeah, it's very powerful. A lot of times it's tough for us to put ourselves in that emphatic position of, or empathetic position of what they're going through. Because we get through on our side, and it's about us and the irritant of like, oh, freaking traffic. You know, how many times have you been in traffic just laying on it, man? I mean, you're just, and you get up there and it's an ambulance and you see a white sheet. Woo, that one stings, doesn't it? I am such an ass. We have no idea what's going on in their brain, right? So be there for them, dig in with them on that level. She speaks of something very powerful that happens is when you've been dealing with something for so long, it becomes, your terrorist becomes there. You are now one with your terrorist. You have labeled yourself that this is what you've got. And people struggle not being able to fulfill their own label. And when you come in there and you start attacking them because you're saying you don't need to be this person that has this, they're like, that's who I am. You're now attacking me. It's a bunch of nonsense in their brain, but that most people are unawake about that. They have no clue that that's even going on. That terrorist has completely taken them over, and they don't even have a clue that there is a difference between them. And they will fight you hardcore because you are jacking with their survival. And here you are, and it's that little terrorist got full control, and you're over here trying to shoot him, and the person keeps getting in the way of the shots. It's crazy. So, powerful stuff here. I like this.
Terrorist
That's
got
you telling.
armor on and helmet.
Bouncing off of them. It's crazy.
That's you telling them that directly, and they'll put a wall.
Mhm.
But if they see somebody else on Facebook, Twitter, whatever, and they see that what's going on,
Yeah,
they
it
might react to
bring,
that.
yeah, it might bring those walls down, for sure.
There's a tight group of like 10 of us, and she's one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody in that group is already purchasing the product.
Yeah.
And they're
Yeah.
seeing results,
Yeah.
and she's still. And I was
So
with
maybe
her
it's going to
from,
be 11. Maybe
Yeah.
it's going to be 12.
well,
One of them's gonna-
mentally,
one of them's
I told myself, I'm just gonna keep saying
That's the
something every
right
once in a
move right
while.
there. That's the drip file that Cheryl was talking about.
But
That
for
drip file.
Christmas,
Yeah.
for Christmas, she'll get a triangle of
Cool. And she will put it in the trash can, or she will take
They're
it.
in the pantry.
You don't. You, and here's the deal. You don't know. Don't even. Oh, I know she's. You don't have a damn clue what she's going to do.
Yep.
You know what you're going to do, and then you see what happens. That's how it works.
I got a triangle of health and it sat on my dresser for a month.
Mhm.
I
Yep.
said, I don't even take this shit.
Yep. I'm good.
Good.
Yeah.
And I
Absolutely.
started listening to people and I says, nah, what the hell is that gonna kill me?
And you have that moment one day, and you give it a shot.
Yeah.
And he did it because he saw it in his brain that it was a possibility. See how it always comes back to the exact same stuff? I mean, we're pretty simple. I mean, you break us down all the way, it's not rocket science how we operate. We make it a whole lot more complex than it is. We are just little stupid chemical monkeys running around, man. It is just stupid. Oh, I want a little of this. I'm gonna run over and push this button. Ooh, look what I got.
The
That's all we do.
only
That's all we
gotta take
do.
it out of my hands is my cold dead hands, cause I ain't got it. And I've been on it for what, 2.5 years, 3 years?